The vocabulary I'm going to be working on is from a story that we read in my classroom called The Family Under the Bridge. So this is actually a lesson that I use the Frayer model. So we begin the lesson by taking a look at the cover of the book, and then we do some noticings, like what do you notice about the book? And typically the kids talk about the characters. We talk about that this is in the past, the present, and the future. And then often what they wonder about, like they may look at this and say, family under the bridge, is this already a family? And then they count up the children, and then I ask them, is this a place that looks like it's in the United States or where it may be? And so they begin to guess and wonder and become curious about the book. And so I introduced just a few words, because there are some words in that first chapter that would either cause me to stop and do the definition as we're reading, but if I do some pre-work on the vocabulary, then the kids have some background knowledge as they go into this first chapter. So the first word that we're going to take a look at is the word hobo. And so the definition, a person who travels from place to place, usually without a home or a job. And then we're going to build out the characteristics, some examples, and some non-examples. So if we take a look at how my classroom built this out, we came up with characteristics. Typically, it's someone who is an adult man. The word is used mostly in the past, and the reason we said why it was used mostly in the past is because people are more aware of people that are homeless, and maybe that term of being someone who is homeless has kind of replaced the name of hobo. A hobo also has kind of a negative connotation to it. People lived on the streets or in hobo camps. They didn't have much money. They liked to be alone. And so we made some background knowledge pulls, some examples. We read a prior story called An Orange for Frankie by Patricia Polacco. And there were a few hobos who rode the trains. And then when the train stopped at this family's backyard, they were fed by this family. And actually the family gave them some clothes and helped clean them up. So it was a great story. That's another book I would suggest. But then I let them know in The Family Under the Bridge, we're going to meet a new hobo. And he is going to be our main character, and his name is Armand. And something else that I always like to talk about with this particular book, The Family Under the Bridge, is they have some other people that are also homeless and some other words that they may use for hobo. So synonym for hobo may be tramp. They also have some people in the story that are gypsies, and how gypsies are different, or could be a non-example. A gypsy is someone who travels from place to place like a hobo, but they traditionally have some sort of a way to make a living. Some of them fix pots and pans. Some of them do some odds and ends for people around a city. But they typically live together. So gypsies travel together versus hobos who like to live by themselves. But some real life non-examples would be a person who has a home, who has a job, wears clean clothes, has food. They clean their body because they have a bathroom. Typically they have a car, and maybe they have a family that they live with. So that's how I use the Frayer model to do some background knowledge for this particular book.